When I say the disciple Thomas, what comes to mind? Doubting Thomas. Can you imagine what it would be like to have that embarrassing moment at the moment you'd like to forget, or that misinterpreted moment become your identity for the rest of your life? Tom Berlin in The Third Day reminds us there is a value to doubt, especially in the time in which we live. Who hasn't been exposed to a potential scam? Doubt plays an important part in keeping us safe. I mean, really, the Nigerian prince scam. But now we live in the day of AI fakes. Really hard to know if what you're seeing is the truth. Doubt is an important tool. In fact, the scientific method is built on doubt. Every theory is tested with doubts to make sure that the theory holds up in the light of truth. An engineer in our congregation helped me understand that doubt is a part of engineering. You want to test the work you're doing to the breaking point to make sure there are no doubts. It will stand the test. Doubt is an important part of what we do. So Tom Berlin helps us see that for Thomas, doubt may have been a way of protecting his friends. This was a vulnerable time. They were in deep grief. If this indeed was not Jesus, but a scam, a fake, it was only setting them up for a second hurt, and that hurt would only compound the first. I want to give you my take from Matthew 24, beginning at the 4th verse. Jesus has just confronted the Pharisees and their hypocritical ways and spoke to the disciples about the coming destruction of the temple. And the disciples responded, "Please tell us when this will be, when the sign of your coming and the end of the age," which for them meant the end of time. And Jesus answered, "Beware that no one leads you astray. For many will come in my name, saying, 'I am the Messiah,' and they will lead many astray." Thomas paid attention and was obedient. Jesus said there would be fakes. So Thomas was clear. Their expectations of the coming of the end of the age would happen in their lifetime. Jesus' death upended that expectation, so his appearance renewed and blew fresh wind upon the flames of that expectation. Be clear, Thomas didn't doubt Jesus. He doubted his friend's experience out of a sense of care and compassion. Did you see the nail scars? Did you look for the spear marks? Were you too excited to check it out thoroughly? Not until I see these things will I believe. But when Thomas was confronted with the risen Jesus, he made the strong post-resurrection confession, "My Lord and my God." Thomas saw with human eyes and with the eyes of his heart, and he made that strong confession. You and I will not have the opportunity in our lifetime to see Christ with our physical eyes. We must see the risen Christ with the eyes of our heart. And Jesus said, "Blessed are those who do not see with these eyes, but believe." So I want to begin by confessing some of the doubts that we have today. Disaffiliation. For my friends whose church is disaffiliated, they have real doubts about the future. The church that nurtured them, baptized them, confirmed them, churches they served and loved and grew up in for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, threw them away, discarded them like trash. Yeah, they have real doubts. They're still hurting. It's hard to find a new place to trust. How about political affiliations that are worn on a sleeve, spoken with the mouth, posted on Facebook, that overshadow what's supposed to be our first love and first commitment to Christ? We can't wrap Christ around anyone's partisan agenda, left, right, or center. And yet, it's happening. And that gives us great doubt for the church's mission and the church's confession in this world. Let's name the decline in the mainline in evangelical churches, especially among the young. Young people are walking away because they see the church parroting the same divisions and battles in the world. Let's name our own doubts. What is it we doubt this day? Around the economy, around the wars that are breaking out and the one that's coming, the climate and wildfires and floods and crazy weather. Will my children and my grandchildren have a world to live in that's better than the world we have? Yeah, we have doubts. Now let's look to the resurrected Christ. What if we place Christ first again in this Lent? Truly proclaim, my Lord and my God. That takes the practice of personal holiness again. To love God with our whole being. And to love God with our whole being requires that social holiness. To love our neighbor as ourselves. To be part of a community of faith. We can't do this alone. We're hospitality for all. Where we share community, love for one another, in the breaking of bread and meals together, in learning and discipling one another, in worship and sacraments and service. This sounds like lighthouse congregations. And so, my friends, the doubts give us grounds for hope. The doubts show us what we must walk away from so that we walk towards a Christ-centered life where loving God and neighbor helps us see with the eyes of our hearts the risen Christ, so that the world, our neighbor, can see the risen Christ in us. May that be the gift we give one another in Lent this year. The gift of the risen Christ, renewed, alive in us for the world to see. Go with that kind of Thomas, the Thomas who believes enough to proclaim, my Lord and my God, in the midst of our doubts. Amen.